Like, sister, we know. Buki, we know.
Conquer, fight, customize.
Can I change the aspect ratio? I have a better PC now. Can you please? Don't even say anything. Just don't fucking say a word. Okay.
Conquer, fight.
I'm playing it. Hi, Curtis. Hey, game over. Yeah, this is the only game we can play that was on the list because Pikmin and Raincoat are on the Switch, and I literally can't install anything on the Switch right now. I have no access to Wi-Fi. Only an Ethernet cord up my butt.
Conquer, cut, local, on AI, fight, story.
So, I guess like I can kind of give a schedule, I guess. So we're gonna be playing the Mortal Kombat story till we finish it. Hopefully we might be able to get it done tonight if it is the same amount of time as Mortal Kombat 10's, because I saw Ed Boon say that Mortal Kombat 12, technically 1's story is the same as X and 11. So I think we can get through this in one stream. But if we do, then we'll hop to another game. We will play Rain Code. We'll play Rain Code in Pikmin 4 when I move into my next apartment. So I'm currently living with Onyx and Max for a couple weeks until we can find a long-term apartment for me and my sister. So we will be, I'll get on that when we get there. But as of right now, I can only play PC games and anything on my PC. So, oh, I was talking. I know, Hello Kitty Island Adventure looks so crazy here. Where is the story? Oh. Well.
Part 1, Part 2, Part 1.
There's a Part 1 and Part 2?
Part 2, Aftermath. Top Crit, Part 1.
Oh.
Kombat 11.
I didn't know that.
Part 2, Part 1, Part 2, Part 1, Part 2, Part 1, Part.
Okay, bars.
Part 1, Mortal Kombat 11.
Takes place after the main story. Noted. Can I even tweet that I'm playing Mortal Kombat? Anybody want to, like, here, I'll give you guys my password. Sign in my Twitter and tweet for me. Anybody want to do that? Pretend I'm on Drag Race. Guys, I got back from filming Drag Race. The way people actually believed it, I can't. Okay, anyways. Yeah, they already invited me back for All Stars. I mean, what can I say? What can I say? Hey, Queen Ho. Hey, other Queen Ho. We're starting. I don't care. I'm not waiting for anybody. WB Games presents. I didn't know this was by oh. I thought it was by NetherRealm and then it said NetherRealm. So I'm half right. Thanks, safety. Should I do a recap? Okay, so what happened? So we played Mortal Kombat 9, we played Mortal Kombat 10. So if you missed that, I suggest watching the VODs before watching this one. So yeah, Mortal Kombat 9, Raiden sees the future and sees everybody dying, and then he tries to prevent the events of everybody dying by basically fulfilling the prophecy of what he already saw and killing everybody in the process, because he's a problematic piece of shit. So pretty much everybody dies in Mortal Kombat 9, almost everybody, and then in Mortal Kombat 10, everybody gets pregnant, like Carl Weezer alien butt pregnant. and shits out babies, and they suddenly have a full cast again. And then from there, some people die, whatever. Some guy like makes it rain hellfire. Some new character guy, whatever. Just like a filler. Like, no one really cares about Mortal Kombat 10. Mortal Kombat 10 was such a flop. Boots, I'm sorry, T-Wig mama. Like, it's just not the tea. So yeah, that happens, and now we're here. Basically, nobody survived, so, you know. I love you, Johnny. Have a good day. I love you. I'll be chilling. The way people believed I was a voice actor for Goblin Cave, a very... Shut! I think you should keep the bit going and say there's going to be a sequel and you're going to be the main character. She's booked. What else can you say? No booked. Carl Weezer. No, I agree. Carl Weezer was what I thought I was in middle school because I had red hair and glasses like him. And I was dummy thick like him too. Oh, this is the main enemy in Mortal Kombat 10.
You should thank me, Raiden. Our battle changed you for the better.
Girl, please. I hate Raiden being the main character. God, I'm so happy he's not in the next game. Like, Jesus Christ, he's so boring. I am the #1 biggest Raiden hater. I'll take it. I'll take the L's for everybody. He's so boring.
Finally, you the truth the Elder Gods deny. The truth I was cast out for speaking.
The truth I embrace, Shinnok, is that mercy is wasted on those who defile Earthrealm. I will destroy our enemies before they destroy us.
Permission granted, but you have to give it a couple more subs. Just kidding. Welcome in. Thank you for 7 months.
Not even you can kill an Elder God.
I like have to peek over my microphone. Hey, girl.
There are fates worse than death.
You really had him down here for God knows how long just to do that? Like, why didn't you do that earlier? Oh, my microphone's peaking. Hey, girl. Let's not get in the camera view. You better watch it. You're not the #1. Oh, this was the post-credit scene.
I will deliver you to Liu Kang and your Netherrealm minions. You will serve as warning and an emblem of my wrath.
My boobs look uneven. It's whatever. Not her walking up. Oh, she's got a nice heel on.
It's not your destiny, Shinnok. Once again, the Thunder God has upset the balance of history. But know this. The arc of the universe bends to my will. It is only a matter of time.
I feel like they lost their way with this storyline. Oh, period. We get to play as Miss Cassie. I'm gonna miss her in the new game. She's like the only combat kid that's like worth anything. Oh, old. Oh god, we're gonna hear Rhonda.
As you were.
Oh, that's not.
For 25 years, the Special Forces have been Earthrealm's sword and shield. We've pushed back Shao Kahn.
True that.
Defeated Shinnok. Yet none of our victories have come without
Jackie
cost.
looks good in this game though. Jackie looks so
Recently,
good.
Commander Jackson Briggs was honorably discharged. His wounds, both physical and psychological, left him no longer fit to serve. We honor Jackson.
Are you ready to serve?
And we honor his
Yes.
sacrifice by doing what he would do. Tirelessly
Hi, Harley.
defend Earthrealm.
Thank you so
Sergeant
much.
Step forward. Your leadership and warfighting ability have earned you promotion to commander. But there are no family favors here. By Special Forces tradition, you still have to pass one last test.
No family favors, as if there's so many other people here, but
All right then, Sergeant. Let's see if you can take me.
like, why Cassie and not anybody else? I don't know. I feel like there were some family favors here, I must say. Okay, I haven't played Mortal Kombat in like a couple months, so like, give me a second. I'm just like doing the most like dumb shit. I don't know any of the inputs. Oh my god.
I love my toys.
The ponytail is ponytailing on Miss Cassie.
Hardcore.
I can't get any of her combos off.
Commander Cage, reporting for duty.
Oh, are those wrinkles?
Congratulations, Commander.
Oh, claps. Yeah, about that.
Dad, you really have to go?
Well, you've got your duty, Commander, and I got mine.
Starring in yet another Ninja Mime sequel isn't what I'd call duty.
Haha, they said duty. I love a silver fox, I must say. I must say. I love an older man.
Provide for you in the manner to which you become accustomed.
Jeez,
Oh.
right here.
General Blade, Cassandra Cage,
What is it, Raiden?
the Netherrealm.
We should open a dialogue. Maybe there's an explanation. Liu Kang and Katana were friends once.
They are irreparably polluted by Shinnok's evil. They are no longer the champions we once knew. We must strike them.
You have red eyes, sir. I don't trust you.
Fight to them. What's the target?
Buried deep beneath Liu Kang.
He's like, yeah, I'm not the bad guy here, guys. The other demons are, but not me. I have red eyes and I have a gun in my pocket.
Removing its threat to Earthrealm.
Aren't your powers weaker in the Netherrealm?
Yes, but I will have sufficient strength to occupy the undead army.
That'll buy us enough time to infiltrate the cathedral. Destroy it from the inside.
We get pinned down in there, there's no way out.
To ensure Earthrealm's
Right.
survival,
He's talking so much shit on them, but he's the one that murdered them.
You know, it's been
By
2 years,
accident.
3
I still
months
don't think it was an accident.
makeover droning on about sacrifice.
How do you not know your powers? And how hard your grip is on your
cage.
thunder pussy?
Right, Johnny. We're not ready for another war. We've got to take out NetherRealm's army
Sorry.
now, before Liu Kang can bring it here.
Oh, wow. You guys really think you can do something with all that? That is like thousands of demons. And you guys are a couple bitches with some guns from Walmart. Like, let's get serious. Look at that!
Hope Raiden's planned one hell of a diversion.
Oh, they're dumb. God. They're from America, right? Dumb as shit.
Withdraw, or feel the wrath of Earthrealm's protector.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it is Ronda Rousey, so I guess Sonya is programmed to be dumb as shit. Good morning, house music. Thank you. I just wish my boobs weren't like lopsided. I was playing it, but it was making my phone overheat because I was streaming it at the same time. So I guess I have to find a better way. Who's gonna clap with me when Sonya dies in a couple minutes? Spoiler. Ronda Rousey dies. Oh my god, we won in this video game. In this video game. Oh. It was that Cabal. I hated Jade's like remnant version in this game. That hair looks bad. I hate it.
Should Raiden get this far, eliminate him.
I almost chose the bird. I did the cat because the kitty face. It is such a mom ponytail. She looks better like in the human form, but like this mask with that hair, no. Oh, that's not.
He's fast. Take out him and Jade. I'll go downstairs and set the C4.
Roger that.
Deserved. Mother Jade. Guys, if Jade isn't in Mortal Kombat 1, I can't. They hate her so much for no reason. Like, stop playing in our face. Just give us all of the, like, all of the girls. There's 29 men and 5 confirmed girls.
You're a dead ringer for your mother.
Well, it's like there's only like what, like 15 girls in the Mortal Kombat universe, and there's like 30 plus men. Like, just put all 15 girls in the game. Does it really matter?
Hardcore.
Right. Like, the fucking Joker was in this game. I do think he was a good pick, but like... I like can't do any of her combos. Like, what even are her combos?
I love my toys. Mwah.
Oh, that phase? Oh, don't make that phase? Why does he look like that? Oh.
Busted.
Oh, I gagged.
You lose as fast as you run.
Not too much. He actually gave us a run for our money.
She bailed. Getting help, I'm sure.
General, how we doing?
Wait, the way Melina wasn't in
The
this?
support columns are further apart than expected.
You need help?
Rude.
Negative. Just watch our back.
10 more minutes. We needed to be taillights in 5.
Well, we're in the shit now.
Wasn't she the only survivor? No. Oh, she died. I forgot. From
Buy ourselves
Devora.
time.
That's right. I was like, wasn't she the only survivor? But nope, definitely not. Man, thank you for the follow. I'm just watching.
Empress, Earthrealmers have captured the Bone Temple. But Raiden...
He's the diversion.
Lock and load.
I would trip. And fall over my own bomb. Like, why don't you like, yeah, let's leave.
What's going on up there?
Watching your back, General.
Did Rhonda just like have no energy this day? Her delivery of all of her lines is so matter of fact. What's going on up there? Like, Miss Thing, come on. Is she that girl? Oh, I absolutely am that girl. The spin. Me being extra. Thank you so much.
Kitana, Empress of the Dead.
I've not forgotten our last encounter at the Sky Temple.
How
Okay,
it
wait, her
starts-
putting on that mask is kind of cunty. I don't know. The skull mask, that's kind of everything. I don't know. I don't know. Excuse me. Wait until I catch my breath. Just wait until I catch my breath. Move, bitch. Can I stop playing Cassie? I can't get any of this bitch's combos. I eat some combos. Oh. Well, there's one. I spam this. Bitch, I love the spooky monster bitches. I'm always rooting for the like demon, like villain characters. I'm never rooting for the military. Like they want me to side with somebody that murdered all of these innocent people in the military. Right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, here, I think it is. Oh, bitch got gagged.
General? General!
Hi, JP.
She's trapped, Cassandra Cage.
How the Chosen One has fallen. Raiden's right. Whatever Shinnok did to you, you're a lost cause.
Fight.
Kid bent.
Oh. Okay, the ponytail on Cassie though is kind of serving. But kind of, I mean, it definitely is. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. I wanted to do that.
I love my toys.
I was just checking my hair, but like literally. Oh. Need him to do that to me IRL, I don't know. No. No. Yeah. Smack him with your Glock. Exactly.
Fuck you.
Oh, oh. Oh, wow.
General, can you hear me? General! Mom!
I'm here, Cass.
Hang tight, we'll get you guys out.
They're gone. Cass.
Oh shit. I'm getting a phone call. Hold on. My mother was waving to you guys.
What? I'm not leaving you behind!
Get your team home.
That's an order. Your duty. Mine's to finish the mission.
Mom, no, we can save you.
I love you, Cass.
Them trying to make me feel bad about this.
Give your dad a kiss for me.
Mom, no, don't.
Mom? Mom!
I'd kiss her dad. If he needs a kiss, I'll give him one.
There is no
I mean, he needs a new wife now because this bitch is dead, so. I'll Ariana Grande that shit. I'm in the marriage already.
Our orders are to leave.
Sorry, is that too soon? Sleepy, thank you so much for the follow. Hi, Chris. Hi, Bev. She's so wild. Love that crazy. Love that girl. She is so crazy. The full ass terrorism attack on this random structure for no reason.
Your mother died a warrior's death. May we all be so fortunate.
You did not just say that.
Punch him.
Thank God you're back.
Oh, that's
How
not.
did the mission go?
Oh, that's not. Oh, the dramatic music. Oh. Wait, Johnny, it's okay. If you need, I'm right here. I can be the new mother. I'll be the mother-in-law. I can be a step parent. I'm right here. We kind of look alike too. Blonde. Like, if you need someone, I'm your girl. And I know you get freaky in bed. I'll be mother. I love a silver fox. I love a daddy. He's got money too. I know he does.
Without the cathedral's power, we stand.
Did I miss Hello Kitty? I was streaming it for about like 30 minutes and my phone was getting really hot. So, you know, it's just, you know, it is what it is. So is Cassie gonna be in the new game? No, they confirmed the Kombat kids won't be in the new game.
Elder gods here to taunt us?
No, Kitana. I am much more.
If she is, she'll be DLC. Hottest game of 2023.
Power is this?
I am Kronika.
Takada and some other guy. Mortal Kombat 10 had all of them. I don't know if they're all in this one.
The sands of time guide the destiny of the realms.
Oh, I thought she got a wig on. I thought that white near her head was a wig, but she's bald as fuck.
Them to keep the realms
Bald!
in balance. But my work's perfection
I just want to do this to the top of her head.
tainted by Raiden's actions. The two of you have felt that pain most acutely.
What can be
Welcome in,
done?
Captain Savage.
The past is the past, is it not?
It need not be. I intend to wind time back to its beginning and restart history.
Back to the
But
dinosaurs?
with my vast power, I cannot create this new era alone.
How will this new era be different?
In many ways. But most importantly, there will be no Raiden.
Thank God, I want to go there.
How do we begin?
Not Chromatica. Oh, don't zoom in on her face. Oh, don't make that face. Not Collector, another throwaway character. Sorry. They really lost their way with this game. He's hot though, like, ooh. Ooh! Kotal, have you seen the shirtless skin of him? Oh, Jade is lucky.
Your debt is paid.
Kill me, Kotal, and you lose profit.
You mistake me for
Ooh! Oh, I know it's fucking heavy. It's like a baby arm, just thump.
I do not inflict
Sorry.
upon the poor.
I need him. You know what? I'm not sorry, actually. I'll be horny all I want, and I'll be uncensored, and what the fuck I want to do. Who's gonna stop me?
Your master is dead. So is his.
Oh, baby, you must be new here. I don't have cool commands like
Never
other
again will
other
our
channels.
suffer from his corruption.
It's just me and the music. What was that? There's a lot happening. Yeah, kill him! Oh.
By the Elder Gods.
We won. Oh. Yes, daddy, daddy, daddy. Love that man. Oh, yes. Oh, we're getting all the good girls back. Good girls make history. Oh my god, Jade looks pussy. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's not. Okay. What was I gonna do? Oh. My sister didn't even text me. If you want to sign whatever one you want, go ahead. I trust you guys.
General Kotal. Kotal Khan. Khan? Pathetic fool. You pretend to my throne. It is mine, by right and deed. You were killed long ago, as was your repugnant spawn Melina.
We were at the Mortal Kombat tournament. Kung Lao had just defeated Shang Tsung and Quan Chi.
We are decades beyond those events. For us, they happened only moments ago.
What game are you playing, Raiden? What magic powers this delusion?
If it is a delusion, it is one we all share. Is it possible that the past and future are colliding?
Perhaps.
Baraka, Scarlet, all Outworld champions long since gone. If you have all returned, has...
I am here, Kotal.
Jade.
That was so rude.
Aztec custom requires all refugees be offered assistance. I offer it to you, Shao Kahn.
I am no refugee. I am Khan of Outworld. Vacate my throne, or I'll soak.
Wait, are we gonna watch them fight? Wait, are you guys gonna fight? Wait, take your clothes off and lube each other up and wrestle. Do some mud wrestling. Get nasty with it. Come on. Take your clothes off. Take your clothes off. Fight, fight, fight.
Lord Raiden, what do we do?
I have not met Kotal, but he is reputed to be a man of honor.
It's true. I know him well.
Then we
Oh,
must
I know
navigate
him, y'all. I
this
know
crisis.
him. Hi, Azul. Kill him everything. Thank you so much for the follow. Oh! I can fix him. Oh. Oh, she was fierce though.
Stupid Aztec, destroying your future, crossing Shao Kahn.
It is you with no future, Baraka. Your Takatans are dead.
Impossible.
They allied...
Can I say something? What if I said Baraka's kind of hot? I like the fear of danger.
Melina against me. Persist, and you will die again.
Fight.
No. I said Baraka, not Barack Obama. Yeah, even with his teeth. Girl, you never had a little bit of whoopee and had someone bite on you a little bit? Just a little. I feel like if I was his wife, he would treat me right. He kind of looks like Vin Diesel, but like Mortal Kombat-ified. So like, I'm with it. Or like wait, Baraka is fully Stone Cold Steve Austin, but put into the Mortal Kombat universe with teeth. Tell me I'm wrong. Just give him like a beer, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin down. So I'm down bad. Like, he can get it.
Filthy Takatan.
Okay, not too much on my man. What the? Oh! Why is the... Oh, it's Scarlet. I was like, who?
The orphan turned assassin.
Better to thrive than shark and
That was so unnecessary, just calling her out for being an orphan. First, he's nasty and racist to my man, and now he's being nasty to her upbringing. Kotal, you're losing a little bit of respect for me. Like, you're hot, but like, let's keep it classy. His gameplay is so much better in this game than it was in the other one. Like, he feels really, feels better to play than Cassie Cage. Hi, Ted. Thanks for coming out today, everybody. Oh. The glitch.
Pride will be your downfall.
Kodo,
She is so fucking. Oh! Me and who?
I thought you were dead. What happened to you?
Shao Kahn betrayed me, ambushed my legion. I was kept alive for Shang Tsung's experiments. Only when he died was I freed.
They're such a cute couple, though, like, actually.
Seeing you again makes it.
Look, Jade does her makeup like I do. The inner corner, like. Exactly. She gets it. She's a Mua.
Go help the Earthrealmers. I will deal with this. Your future self is ally, not enemy, Aaron Black.
To hell with the future. I live in the moment.
Given who you become, I would not have thought you so reckless.
His titties are tittying. Like, Kodo, please put those away. Those are weapons. Yeah, I'm afraid Jade's gonna be a cameo. Which is kind of annoying. Considering she was one of the most popular ones in this game. I just don't understand the thought process. I just want Melina, Katana, and Jade and Sindel and Scarlet and Tanya all playable in one game. Not a fucking cameo. And I hope Sindel looks pretty in this new game, because everybody's saying she's basically confirmed, but I'm like, if she doesn't look cunty, I don't want it. I'm waiting for Sindel. Sindel is my fave. If she was DLC, that's fine as long as she gets in, but the DLC is gonna run until 2024. It's running an entire year, so we'd have to wait a year and a half like we did with Melina, which is booger.
I will have my throne.
Outworld rejected your pointless wars.
Empires must expand or die.
What is that? Good dog.
Your conquest served you alone, not Outworld's people.
Fight.
Oh. Oh. I just totally just disassociated for a second, phased out of reality. Like, what was that? I'm here. I'm still here. Here. What's up, bitch? Oh, I'm getting gagged. I agree. I think everybody shitting on Tanya has no taste. I think she looks so gorgeous. And I'm not even saying that from a perspective, like some people are like using the conversation like, oh, it's like you guys are using this because they're trying to make their game woke. I'm like, she just looks so good. I love that like they took a different style of hair that they've never had in a game like this before. Oh, hey girl.
I have not known stranger days.
Kotal Khan, I am Raiden, protector of Earthrealm.
I know you.
We are acquainted in your era.
We were allies who became enemies.
I am surprised, given our shared antipathy toward Shao Kahn.
Everything changed after your...
Yeah, I was like really disappointed that she's using like a sword, like a pole like Jade does, so I'm like scared for our girl Jade. That's why I think she's a cameo, which I really hope she's not.
You deemed threats.
That cannot be.
My Raiden wears Shinnok's amulet as a symbol of his fury.
Be assured, Kotal Khan, I am not that Raiden. We have common cause, both in solving this temporal crisis and in defeating Shao Kahn.
Agreed.
Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and I will return to Earthrealm and learn what temporal anomalies have occurred there. We must better understand the phenomenon we are experiencing.
I will have my scouts track Shao Kahn.
So, this is goodbye.
Yeah, I hope they give her a default like her other
Shao Kahn threatens Outworld.
her other game form, which I'm sure they will, but
And to all Adinia.
I will come back for you to aid you, Princess.
they're so cute. Thank you.
You evade my questions, Deborah. I routed your people, burned this hive, yet you aid me.
We can't trust her, Excellency. Kotal Khan did, and she betrayed him to Shinnok.
Kotal Khan. How is it I'm dead and he sits on my throne?
You tried merging Earthrealm into Outworld.
I don't know, that's the conversation people are saying. Like everybody's like, oh, you guys are making it like a race thing. And I'm like, well, half of you guys saying that Tanya looks ugly do have internalized racism. Let's assess that. But second of all, she looks fine, like she looks stunning to me. So I just don't understand why people are hating on her fiercely. But there's a new character that got remade and he looks worse, but everybody's quiet. And you want to know why? Because he's white. So.
As are you. I am Kronika.
They cater to the incel community. It makes me upset because I love Mortal Kombat, but they really cater to the incels.
So you broke time?
I stopped time. I enlist all those who
Some guy, it's on my Twitter.
By merging past and present, we may draw upon allies.
Some guy with like a chest thing in his face. I don't even know what his name is.
I offer a greater.
See how much I care about the men.
Raiden will not exist to thwart you.
Guys, I really don't know. You're gonna have to like scroll my 5,000 tweets to find it. It should be from like 3 days ago or something.
Requiring great power and effort. My hourglass requires protection while I work.
What is happening in this story? Like, is anyone paying attention? Like, I'm lost. Oh, thank you for gifting a sub, Crimson. Oh, my sub counts are really down. Y'all, if you have some money, please put it into the network because we are struggling. Twitch is gonna look at my numbers and take away my check mark, I swear to God.
I've been in the future for a full
Thank you for the
hour
sub,
and
gifted
one
sub.
back. Not one.
So it is true. I walked a darker path.
After Shinnok went down, you became a different person. Red lightning, black clothes, authoritarian attitude.
Work, congrats.
Yeah, about that. What happened to Dark You? How come you're an only child and I got an evil twin?
That's my evil oh.
As an immortal, I exist outside the normal.
Why did my pussy throb? Oh.
That could explain
Sorry.
why I am affected differently.
Thanks.
Ooh.
Not being in charge.
Why is everybody hot?
That's what's weird.
That and having daughters our age.
Look at her. How do I have a kid with him?
At least she's not an actress.
Come on, at least think about it. We each get points off the gross. Coming this summer, Johnny Cage and Johnny.
Just for the meme. You know I don't like her any other way.
Any thoughts on what we do next?
For months, I've been receiving vague premonitions of the future, but none of them foretold this. I must confirm.
Yeah,
with the
girl.
gods. Liu Kang, Kung Lao, please assist the special forces while I am gone.
Yes, Lord Raiden.
Follow me.
Why do you guys listen to him?
Commander,
Yes, Mom. I mean, General. I mean,
this is strange for me, too.
you have no idea.
What?
How do I say this? This morning, we were on a mission. And you gave your life to save it.
Girl, please. Ooh, the highlight in this thing? Okay.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I really can't take it seriously. First of all, being Rhonda. Second of all, I really do not even care about this family. Like, I literally could not give a shit.
Cass, you need to see this.
Oh.
Satbeats show another realm incursion at the Wuxi Academy.
Netherrealm? Taking out Shinnok's temple was supposed to stop them.
It's gotta be the time anomaly.
We must help our Shaolin masters.
Why would the Netherrealm want to bust up your alma mater, Liu Kang?
The Dragon Grotto. It's underneath the academy. Earthrealm's Jinsei energy
The
bubbles
like
up.
dramatic like piano violin music every time they have a moment between each other. Like, girl, please.
They will not reach the grotto. It is protected by powerful magic, the deadliest traps. I am sure our counterparts from your era are already dealing with them.
I don't know. This military jargon is so draining.
You might want to sit down.
Victor, thank you for the follow.
I die in the Colosseum. You on a rooftop fighting Lord Raiden. Our future, Liu Kang. It is insane.
Does anyone want to go to
Obsessing
Paris?
over it will not change it.
Neither will accepting our destiny as evil undead warlords.
Maybe see the Eiffel Tower.
But we can't change a future we don't fully understand. Lord Raiden will guide us.
Can we trust him? It appears he got us both killed.
And now? Me after a long stream. Do you like girls?
So many Shaolin. They died defending our sacred ground. The
Thank you, Cammy. No, I didn't mean that. Not the dead body if it likes girls. Yeah, do you like girls to the dead body? Do you like girls?
Whoever came here knew how to disarm these traps.
Do you know how? The monks never taught me.
More likely you did not attend class. Watch for the pattern. And pick your moment.
I would die right here. Oh my god, he's so hot.
Easy enough. What's next?
Everything. Poison gas, shooting spears.
Why is he so hot?
How about we avoid those?
He looks horrible. Reiko, yeah, terrible. Hello?
I did.
Oh, hey, Scorpion. This is Kung Lao and Liu Kang. Liu Kang's the one with the long hair. Kung Lao's the one with the hat. Can't leave the house without my big hat. Kung Lao tease. I want to play Kung Lao.
If Scorpion doesn't kill us, his traps will. Find a way to shut them down.
The way I literally chose to play Kung Lao and it didn't. Okay.
Let's see who's fired.
Whatever.
Fight.
That's what I'm saying. I like video game men, not IRL men, because IRL men probably will ruin your life and they're terrible. But like video game and fictional men, I'm like, like Nightwing can ruin my life if he wanted, because he's fictional and it wouldn't really hurt me that bad. Do I have a mod? I do not.
I am Shaolin.
I can't get any of his combos. I was one of the heavier characters, like easier to use, but Kung Lao, a really fast fighter, is difficult. Okay.
Your fire is.
I am not playing on PS5, I'm playing on PC. I do not have a PS5. I wish I did. I mean, I have a PS5 in the apartment I'm staying in right now, and I could probably use it, but I don't want to do all that work. I'm too tired. I already had a monster today. I'm like, should I drink another? Like, let's be crazy.
It stopped. Why?
Hey, Jade. She is so crazy. Love her.
Plans require that you live.
Jade? What happened to
Ashura. Ashura is the definition of can't leave without my big hat.
You cannot turn us against him. We know about our deaths. They were caused by our mistakes.
You have been deceived, Liu Kang. The truth is, Raiden murdered you.
No! I didn't mean that. Kung Lao was on the right last time. Why did they just trick me, Boots? I want to play the hot one. Sorry, Liu Kang. Just Kung Lao's hotter. I don't know. Girl, everybody was shitting on Tanya, but I don't know. Lei Mei, or how do you pronounce her name? I don't know. I thought she looked booger boots. They used her face from Mortal Kombat X. I'm like, why? Lei Mei. Perfect. Guys, I can only do this one kick move. I'm here for the story, even though the story is a complete disaster, but it's whatever. I like literally have no idea what's happening in the story. There's so many times skipping and bouncing around. I'm like, okay. Like, yeah, let me make sense of this.
You will not test my faith.
Oh yeah, like the bandana, the purple. That's my favorite attire of hers.
Dragon
Yeah.
Grotto is through there.
What if the next revenants we have to fight are us?
Then we fight them, Kung Lao.
I just said that before you joined, Cammy. I said the same exact thing. I said there's only like 11 women in Mortal Kombat. Just add all of them to the base game because there's like 37 men. And then they always pick men for DLC, so...
The realms are in crisis.
Is that Centurion?
The crisis is grave indeed, Raiden. Every being will be erased.
Wait, I didn't know Centurion was an elder god.
Even we elder gods. Already our power weakens.
I will fight Cetrion. But how?
You must find Kronika's keep and gain control of her hourglass. Only then will time's momentum be restored.
It will be done.
Speak your mind, Raiden.
Since this time merger, I have learned about my future.
Y'all are so desperate for Bayonetta in Mortal Kombat when that would literally never happen. Like, it will never happen. I am so sorry. Like, it's really never gonna happen.
Time will not predetermine your destiny. That is for you to shape.
Is there any point to us asking you to put those back?
They said you'd come.
Who said?
Who do you think, Kung Lao?
Pretends to be shocked. I think Harley's like rumored or leaked or something. I hope they fix her face up from Injustice 2 because I really did not like that face, Boots.
Courtesy of Raiden. Our future may be tragic, but it's not Lord Raiden's fault. You've been doomed by Shinnok's evil.
Sorry.
Shao Kahn snapped my neck in the arena. Raiden saw it coming and did nothing.
I would have defeated Shao Kahn, but Raiden wanted the glory. His lightning cut me down.
No, I don't believe that.
Well, you should, because that's what happened.
Then you will believe.
The thought of becoming you sickens me, but I won't blame Raiden. You owe Kronika.
I don't know about that,
She saved
Kimmy.
your life from stopping time.
I support your journey, though. Maybe for you. Because what, you're a cute little twink? So maybe for you, not me. BKB, thank you so much for the gifted subscriptions. The Libra jumped out. I thought you were gonna say Gemini, but yeah. Mine would be a disaster. It would just be watching like a car accident and be like, oh, that's not. Damn right, Geminis are my besties always. Oh my god, I just missed. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's not. How did I win that? Oh my god, thank you. Why did I say thank you? I mean, excuse me, but also thank you for gifting subs because we are really low in numbers right now. Guys, we are so low in the numbers game here on the channel. Like, I'm really scared for us because like literally, not that I thought we were gonna get to the partner plus thing, but I thought our numbers were pretty like stable. But like now we're so low, we're under 100 subs. We're usually towards like 200. Like I'm so depressed about it. Like damn, like shit, like wow. Not everybody unsubscribing when my house catches on fire. Wow, guys. Everybody that's here and stays subscribed, I know is a real one. Trust. You will be dealt with in the best way, because I love you for subscribing through all of it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20, 22. Oh, don't get sarcastic with me right now.
Is it me?
I was just guesstimating. It's not that serious, Ma. You didn't have to copy and paste a paragraph of every character.
We have bigger problems.
Not too much. Fairy, thank you so much for subscribing. Thanks for 83. Can we get to 100 in today's stream? I don't know. Oh. Well, it doesn't really matter. He's just gonna regen.
That was easy.
Feeling better? How's everything, doll? We're fine. So no head. Girl, I'd give him the sloppiest of toppy head. He's hot. He's like if Cyborg wasn't annoying and misogynistic and hot. Did y'all know that Cyborg in the comics and in the Teen Titans show is literally misogynistic? Like, it's a boot from me. You're looking phenomenal. Thanks, Sona. Oh, Riley.
Fetch the Jinsei, chosen one.
You're good, but you're no great Kung Lao.
Sona, any relation to Sona from League of Legends?
He stood a chance against me. You have none.
Like OG Teen Titans, like the cartoon, yes. Sadly, yes. Not sadly, we stand. No, be nice to her. Not too much a mother. Also, I know some people here on the Nemesis Network, we have a parasocial relationship, but y'all join up on the Discord. Join up on the Discord, because I've been playing some games lately that I need a duo partner with, and if y'all want to play a video game with me and aren't like specifically Australia, because I would play with some Australians, but the ping is terrible. Like League of Legends and Naraka and Dead by Daylight, and I need more people to queue up with, because I can't be playing solo all these games. So I'm gonna make some channels in the Discord. Oh my god, it was my chair. I was like, is there a hand behind me? I'm gonna make some channels in the Discord dedicated to like certain video games and posting about the video games and shit. Oh. Ooh, me getting that combo off? Okay. Jesus. He just canceled that. I need a drink. I want to. I will. I will make one in Naraka. I know Angel has one. I'm gonna ask her if I can join it. I'm so addicted to that game. I would play it right now if we weren't playing this. Naraka is cunty. I want to become a Naraka League of Legends streamer. I don't know. I just started playing, so like I don't have like a lot of like knowledge on who I would like to main. I really like Yoto. But it sucks you can't customize her. But I also really like, who else? I really like Justina. And I'm not a healer, I'm a damage girly. Oh, she's fun, the water girl. Girl, the customizations are wild. It's so good. I think it just became free to play and then it also came to consoles, I believe. When does Tessa release, Cammy? Do you know? I think it's like the 3rd or something, or the 6th. I'm so sorry. I don't. This cough won't go away. I've like done everything in my power to get rid of this cough and it won't go away.
I can't kill you, but I can knock you out.
But I can't knock you up. I'm first in line.
You Shaolin monks exceed your reputation. I respect your spirit, but Kronika's will must be done.
Oh. The way you can't even play her is weird.
It's dangerous to let them live.
If they die, their revenant selves will cease to exist. We need them to defend the keep.
Okay.
Yet again, Liu Kang.
Fault.
You've chosen the wrong destiny.
August 9th. Okay. I don't know. I feel like she should be playable like Shao Kahn was, right? Like, I just nerf her. I feel like that's not too much to ask. I just need to grab a drink because my throat is obviously bothering me. So I'm gonna grab. Oh, my eyelashes be stabbing me. I'll be right back. Hello? Oh.
I now have the energy to re-sculpt the sands of time. The Nether Realm's undead army protect the keep as I work. Shao Kahn, when will you deliver the Outworld army?
Soon. It will be mine once Kotal is killed.
And what is your progress, Sector?
The Cyberlink Quay factory is modified to your specifications. Production exceeds projections.
Oh, that's his gold like eyeliner booger boots.
Lord Raiden, what did the Elder God say?
We must find Kronika, wrest the control of history from her. If we succeed, our destiny can change.
So what we were told is true? You were involved in our deaths?
Yes.
Damn right, kill him.
Had the timeline continued, my decisions would have led to your deaths. But the Elder Gods assure me that such a future is not inevitable. This is but one of many possible timelines.
That is a lot to take on faith.
Rest assured, Kung Lao. I am aware now of what may come. I will not bring harm to either of you. You have my vow.
Thank you.
Liar.
We must find Kronika's keep and strike it. As hard and as fast as we can muster, before all is lost. What have you learned about Kronika's effect on Earthrealm?
We're tracking sites around the globe with major temporal anomalies. Picture's still fuzzy.
Our kid's something, isn't she?
We see no pattern so far.
Oh, Cage. I'm not your Sonia.
Sorry. Too easy to forget.
We've prioritized info that
That's
correlates
sad.
attacks from the Netherrealm with time anomalies.
Helpful. But we have more to worry about than the Netherrealm.
Yeah, we do. Grandmaster Sub-Zero reports heavy losses to his Lin Kuei clan. The Time Merger has resurrected his old enemy, Sector.
Sector? Was he not the Grandmaster who years ago enslaved the Lin Kuei?
That's him. He's reactivating and upgrading the same factory he built to convert the Lin Kuei into cyber killing machines.
Undoubtedly, to construct new and more powerful cyber Lin Kuei. Kronika may seek to co-opt them. What of Sub-Zero?
Already on his way to shut down the factory. Grandmaster Hasashi is going with him.
Grandmaster Hasashi? Hanzo Hasashi?
Maybe. I don't know. Oh, that's right. You can unlock... What's her name in this? Oh my god, I love this beard on him. Oh, okay. Girl.
Your hearing is failing.
Oh!
I recognized your footsteps, Hanzo.
I'm wet.
Here's Sector.
Why? Why? Oh,
The old
oh,
factory was defunct, buried beneath this quarry. Until the time disruption. Now, Sector's returned and reactivated it. He's building an army.
Oh my god. Why is he so fine here?
I can see why you need me. We could enter through that tunnel, but a frontal assault would be bloody.
Frontal assault me. Like, take me.
Less populated.
Literally same. Hi, Tove.
We get help on the inside.
Mortal Kombat story mode. I've never played it. Also, okay, not too much now. MX posting on Instagram looking so fine. Don't act like I didn't see that, Tove. You ate that. No, you ate that, baby. You ate that. All of my oomps are so hot, but it's like so weird for me to be like, yeah, you guys look hot. And you know what? I'm not gonna apologize for saying that my oomps look hot because we're all hot ass bitches and we should know it. Anyway, they can literally double team me boots. Agreed. For non-subscribers, we're getting an ad break in 20 seconds. Actually, it's happening right now. Oop. No, you ate that though. You ate that. And I'm glad you posted it. Thank you for sharing. Yes, I just got it when I went to Australia last month. It's brand spanking new. It was before all of the craziness happened. I literally paid for it in advance and everything, and then the fire happened, and I was like, okay, well, could have used that money, you know. It wasn't too bad though. Excuse me.
Cyrix is your inside man. He was converted against his will. If we disable the behavior inhibitors that control him, he will turn on Sector.
Wait, so that's Scorpion and that's Sub-Zero, like actually? Aren't there like multiple Scorpions and Sub-Zeros though? God, Sub-Zero looks so fucking sexy here though. Like I have to, ooh, ooh.
Once delivered, how long before the next generation is ready?
Not her getting gagged. Hope everything's going well with that. Glad to see you streaming again. Thanks, baby. I appreciate you coming out. It means a lot. It's going okay. I mean, I have thankfully a place, and then my mom and my sister are looking at places for us long term. Like today, she just called me during stream. But at least I have somewhere. But I have a lot of shit. I was like, we're taking everything out of this house. Meow.
Keep Cyrax alive. We need him.
Because it was starting to mold, and like, I was just like, insurance really is dumb as fuck. Sorry. Like, how are you not gonna like be like, yeah, the house is getting mold and bugs. Let's take all of the valuables out of the house. Like, and they didn't even do that. And they missed some of my clothes, so some of my clothes were getting moldy. I can't stand them. I have some thoughts. Is there like a camera mode? Can we zoom in? I want to see something. There's not. Okay, well, I'm depressed. You know what? Can I say something else? You know the new Harley Quinn show that Nightwing's wearing like a thong and like his ass is out and like they're not afraid to like go there? Can we take that leap of faith next? Like, I know Dead by Daylight does it and they make their men have their shirts off. Let's go there. Like, why over the years have we sexualized women and put women in all of these like sexy outfits and yada yada? Let's go there with the men. Let's go there with the gentlemen. Let's put them in Speedos and thongs and half naked and get them together. Okay? I want to see ass. I want to see titties. Cammy, thank you so much for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for gifting subs. I really appreciate it. It means the world. Especially because, like I just said, the numbers game is really getting to me. So thank you for supporting and sending some love. If anyone wants to keep sending some love, I won't be opposed to it. That's what I'm saying, Tove. Like, go there. Like, I need it. Like, show me. Did you see the Nightwing clip I posted, Tove? I was like, damn. Like, so good.
You are no warrior.
Oh, you're keeping it going, baby. I mean, I'm not gonna say no. Thank you for gifting another sub, Cammy. I might have to bust out another monster if y'all gonna keep gifting subs. I'll stay up all day. Trust and believe. We're back in it. We're back streaming, so... Could you imagine I get that Partner Plus bullshit? They want you to have like 300 subs a month. I said, hold on, that's not right. They had me in that TwitchCon commercial, and they need to give me a call. Ooh, the glitch.
Deceive yourself, Frost.
I don't know how I feel about Scorpion in this game. I'm usually a Scorpion girl, but in this game I'm not. What was that? Oh, I forgot that's my new lurk noise. I forgot because everybody was like, why don't you have a lurk command? And I added a lurk command. So you're welcome. That scared me.
So you're nothing but pawns? We act to secure the Lin Kuei's glory in the new era.
It's a little loud, but whatever. Oh.
Take the others.
It's a Wind Waker noise.
You've been enslaved, Cyrax. First by Sector, now by Chronica. It ends today.
It's a very good, I love that noise. I want to play Wind Waker, but we have a lot in our catalog to play. I really need to play that fucking... I want to play it now. I need to go over to someone's house with my Switch and install it and come back. I want to play that Spike Chunsoft game, the Danganronpa clone. Or Pikmin 4. Either one. Do I have a tissue? I have this. Back it up. I was loving it. So, a lot of people have been asking me to play it, and also a lot of people said, like, in the game there's a character that, like, resembles me, so I'm like, oh.
Snowed under.
I just want to play with the yellow bitches. I love the Pikmin. Where are my bitches? That picture I posted this morning. Where are all my bitches at?
You will be freed.
There's like powder in my nose.
Before we face more cyberlink quick,
Can I get a pat?
You'll need a moment to initialize.
It's a white chick's quote.
Sector, show yourself.
Oh, of course I have. Who is this?
Little brother.
Oh.
Beyond?
Yes, it is I.
You were killed, swallowed in a storm of souls.
Quanti's creation.
And if I said I want to have a... What's a triple Eiffel Tower? There's 4 of them?
Lead Beyond to me.
You always mimicked me, but you make a poor Grandmaster.
I uphold the Lin Kuei principles I thought you shared.
Fight.
I didn't know Noob was in this game, I'm gonna be honest. That's... Pina, the horse is here. Grab, grab, grab. Yes, popcorn. Yes, popcorn. That's what I'm saying. I can fix him. I can help him. I know him, y'all. I know him. Mmm, Sub-Zero cream so yummy. Mmm. Yeehaw, you gotta ride it like a cowboy. Let me ride it. Sorry, I'm in my horny unhinged era, and I honestly will not even apologize for it. If we get 100 subs, I'll post Hole on the timeline right now. I'm just kidding. I won't do that.
No. You ripped out my heart. Made me a machine.
Your soul is intact, Cyrax.
Oh my god, yes, the Anitra face scar.
Speak from experience.
Could you imagine that's where she got the idea from?
Is that you?
She's like, yeah, I was playing Mortal Kombat one day and I decided to do this makeup scar on my eyes because this hot guy from Mortal Kombat. Honestly, she's real if that's where it came from. But I don't think it did.
The cyberlink Kuei's destruction.
We need your help, Cyrax.
I can disable the communications network. It'll shut down this factory and every cyberlink Kuei connected to it.
Did she really? We'll find out with the new 90-minute episodes. Giggles. More sugar and spice content, that's all I care about.
To become allies. I did not think you capable of such dishonor, Sub-Zero.
Aid Cyrax. Sector is mine.
The way this is supposed to be like a story dump, but I have no idea what any of this is supposed to do for the story.
Fight.
Excuse me, shit. Call me crazy. You might be crazy. You might be. But I would love a little more story in this, cause like, yeah, but like, that's too much. Like, they're talking too much. Also, like, why is it just like Mortal Kombat stories like, oh yeah, there's a bad guy, let's beat him up. Like, okay, can we get a little bit more? Do you guys think we'll get Silent Hill news at Gamescom next month? What? Not the spam!
Your body is ready.
I've never played the story in Injustice. Like, never. Maybe that'll be our next venture. I mean, I'm doing this because everybody's like, oh my god, the Sindel retcon. And I'm like, I want to figure it out. Like, I want to know what the tea is. I want to find out for myself. Oh, he got gagged.
The Cyber Lin Kuei are finished.
I'm in. I'll reformat the system drives and shut us all down. Goodbye, Kuai Liang.
It is not the end. I will find a way to restore.
You're so real. I took all my amiibos out of the boxes yesterday. I don't even care anymore.
Please, don't bring me back as a machine. I can't live like this.
Machine or man.
She does look hot.
Warrior soul. As long as I am Grandmaster, the Lin Kuei will welcome you.
Until we meet again.
Oh my god. My eyelashes are literally stabbing me, like I don't understand why.
They've escaped. We should pursue.
I think he was a ninja and then he died and got reborn. Not farts violently. You're so real. Oh, why is he bald? Thank you for the subscription, Sona. Eh.
Can you restore him?
You have the demon chow. You have the demon twink.
Circuitry looks good. It looks like someone did a software wipe. Fixing that won't come cheap.
Once he is repaired.
He's Australian. I was just there.
Thousands.
That's a tall order.
You guys should kiss. You guys should kiss. You guys should kiss.
Serve Chronica.
Oh.
And she will provide.
Take the deal. Trust me.
See this Kano. Oh, I'm about to get so wet. Splurge, splooge, spludge. All everywhere.
Otherwise, who can you trust? You weren't kidding. It's like a mirror, reflecting the past. How about that? Over 50 and still a ripper.
There's still the matter of our fee.
We get paid in the new era.
The hairy
Ooh. Sure the Black Dragon come out on time.
Why was he ever bald? Oh!
In every market.
What?
Let's get to business.
What did he just say? I'll give him a pass. I'll pretend like it's in the bedroom.
Reach your dad yet, kid?
The network's still down. I hate being so far.
Nope, the Nemesis network is live. We're not down.
Be patient. You'll get through.
I know my dad's still alive, but it's like I'm seeing a ghost.
You and me both. But they aren't ghosts. Oh, they're definitely real.
Can this get any more bizarre?
She is really pretty. The glow up from the other game to this one is incredible. She looked booger in the last game. I mean, they all did, but she has a great glow up. Oh my god, Jax from Drag Race. Jax's Jax look on Drag Race was actually pretty good. Stop. Stop. See, you made me cry. Oh my god. Ah! Yeah, I'm rewatching. I was literally rewatching the season before they announced the 90-minute episode stuff. And I was like, oh.
Come on.
Turn the TV on. Can you clean up? Sorry. There's something seriously wrong, and I'm like, can you clean your fucking room? Oh. No, don't drop it. No. Sadako walks through the TV. Excuse me, ma'am. Oh. Oh. Well, she was gonna get freaky.
Do not fear.
Want to take you fucking down.
A better life.
She was gonna get.
Awfully generous.
Ooh.
We have not met, but I know you. How valiantly.
They love bald people in this game because they don't have to texture hair physics. That's just tea, and it's annoying. I'm sick of video game development studios being like, yeah, we're gonna make this character bald or have a fuck ass bob because they don't want to texture hair. Bitch, you guys got so much fucking money in your wallet. I know you do. Hire some people to make some fucking hair physics and stop making these bitches in a fuck ass bob or bald ass bitches.
Nor endure the same tragedies you have.
Ugh!
Your home should be filled with grandchildren. Help me, and it will be.
The Tarkatans, long extinct.
His
have also
titties.
returned. Shao Kahn will seek them out. He relies on their power.
Kotal scouts tracked a Tarkatan war party to the Kaitin's lost hive, Devora's ancestral home. Her hand in Shao Kahn's escape makes that our starting point.
Please advise me of what you learn. I must consult with the Elder Gods.
Hey, Katana Queen.
When do we leave?
Your duty lies elsewhere, Princess. I need you to enlist Queen Shiva. Her support is critical.
Shiva Mother.
Kronika and Shao Kahn.
Surely you can.
Queen Shiva does not trust me. No Shokan has since my bloody battle with Goro.
Shiva's always respected your opinion more than anyone's. When she hears you support Kodal, she'll join us.
If that is my duty, so be it.
Thank you, Princess.
I'm gonna play my bitch Katana. It's a very obscure reference.
It was my idea, Katana. It's in your best interest. Succeed with Shiva, and Kodal will pledge his loyalty to you. There's no bond more sacred to an Oshtek like him. I remember when we could ride like this alone.
My life has changed as Outworlds come. Thankfully.
Was that supposed to be an innuendo?
You haven't changed much either, despite the years.
I remember when I could ride your cock alone, Kodal. Oh, Jade wants it.
And now you're calm. I'm surprised no woman has claimed your bed and become your queen.
Oh, they flirting down.
Yet they failed. Why?
None of them were you.
Oh. They're so cute. Is it gonna be? I can't.
There are fresh tracks leading into the hive. If Shao Kahn's in there, he'll be difficult to find. The tunnels are endless.
Set fire to them.
What?
If he's hidden, he will be smoked out.
Kodal, we don't know who else is in
Oh, that's not. Well, now we definitely can't set fire. Oh.
Hold her.
Oh, gag. Okay, gag stress.
By the gods, it's true. This is what I become. Blame your loyalty to Katana. It led directly to our death. Then so be it. I would not trade Katana's friendship for anything. It is pitiful you choose servitude. She and I fight side by side against Shao Kahn. His oppression cannot stand.
There's no way she's not in Mortal Kombat 1. I'll be so mad. Okay, now we're getting gagged. Hold on. Oh, that spider in the background makes me feel real comfortable. I didn't see one goddamn spider while I was in Australia. Not that it was like a goal, but... Oh, I didn't know that was a counter. Oh shit.
Take your time getting up.
Thank you so much, you're so generous. Oh my god. That sound effect gets me. There's one meme on Twitter that's Rose McGowan being like, "We fight, we yell," and it's that sound effect for Jade.
Take your time getting up.
You're so real. Ooh, combos. Well, it took me 3 hours to land a good combo. Oh! And when I do this... Yeah, watch this awesome move.
When called for a higher purpose, we
Devora?
serve.
I don't know. She's chilling somewhere. Oh, there she is.
You will bleed for your betrayal, Devora.
This one acts only for the Hive's survival.
I want to do a cosplay of her kind of so bad. Kind of looks kind of cunty. I don't think by choice.
Flee, Devora. Kotal is mine.
Oh.
Fight.
She said, step off my man, bitch. As she should. Oh, gagged. Oh.
Don't stare too long. Wish to survive? Tell us where to find Shao Kahn.
Ghosts of my past. Devora spoke the truth. We are outnumbered.
Give me a few of your best soldiers. We'll infiltrate the camp and search for Shao Kahn unseen.
What you propose is dangerous.
Of course it is.
The wink. I don't even know what to make for commentary on this. Like, I'm saying, these guys are kind of hot, I don't know.
Tohana, Takana, Aki Tarakata. Ne, ne. Trakati. No. Parga. It's all right. I won't harm you. We're looking for Shao Kahn. Please.
Oh. Oh, sugar honey iced tea.
With me!
Run, girl! Diva down! Oh. Heavy grass. Oh, yummy. The kick. Like, how is she not in the next game? Like, she is giving. They can't leave her out, like, seriously. She's so mother. What? What is he doing here?
All these years, and still you exploit others to rise above your station.
I have risen to my station, Jade.
That is a big ass sword. Oh. Oh.
Before Shao Kahn raised me up, Outworlders despised the Naknada. Now they fear us.
Why is it glitching like that?
Tell me that is not progress.
Is Collector part of the Baraka race?
Fight.
Like, what is he? No idea his lore. Stop teleporting. Oh. Oh, wow. Whammy.
Take your time getting up.
Gagged.
Fear and respect are not equals.
Excuse me.
Line them up. Execute them.
And do what?
Kotal! This is cruel. Many didn't fight us. They are children.
You forget. In my time, they joined Melina in rebellion against me.
These aren't the same Tarkatans, Kotal. A better Khan would offer them a warm hand, not cold steel.
What the?
Fight!
True. Oh. I don't understand why they're fighting. You guys couldn't talk it out? Oh my god, stop! He's stun locking me.
Take your time getting up.
Oh, I missed. Oh, I missed.
Your heart has hardened, Kotal.
Jade, look what you did. Now what? Oh, can I get a piece? True, you're right, Maddie. It is a big deal for Maddie stands. You're right. You're right, Maddie. You're right.
It is too late.
Blame yourself for the Elder God's deaths, Raiden. Your actions have irrevocably altered Kronika's golden balance of light and dark. Shinnok's decapitation was the capstone.
You are a paragon of virtue. You should wish evil vanquished.
I abide my mother's will.
You were begotten by Kronika.
As was my brother, Shinnok. The darkness to my light. Nature demands equilibrium.
I never understood her role.
Is perfection. You have stepped out of your role, made that balance impossible. That's why the new era holds no place for you.
You will not succeed.
Kotal Khan is captured, Raiden. The combined
That's Seaweed
might of
Diva.
the world and the Nether Realm will keep your forces at bay.
Oh.
While my mother finishes her work.
Do not underestimate Earthrealm's warriors.
You are right to have been fond of these mortals. They were good souls.
Man, these arms are an upgrade. It'll be payback time next time I see Ermac.
Oh, I made sure he got his.
I imagine future me is out kicking ass with these right now.
Thank you,
Cassie
Curtis.
told you that future
I'm glad.
spent time as a revenant, yeah?
Sounds awful. Can't imagine
I
becoming.
need some caffeine, diva.
But she says I come back from it.
The experience haunted Dad. But then you, met Mom. She brought you back to life.
The love of a good woman. Like the sound of that.
She was Dad's everything. She died last year. Ever since Dad stayed on the farm, he feels safer there.
Not the farm. Farmer boys make do.
Here's how you access incoming reports. Swipe here to cross-check them with past reports. The software can suss out the deltas.
Now that's
The deltas?
Good morning, Krusty Krab. So, a merry Lieutenant Princess over there. Always had a thing for blondes. Ever since Susie, Dinardo.
Now to go home and have the rest of that pasta.
Take it from me. You didn't miss much. That woman over there, she's the real deal.
You sure did.
Oh, I got eyes, brother. As younger you, I saw him. You swear to tap that at the earliest opportunity.
Girl. Where is the class?
What? It's our destiny. Out.
How the hell do I ever sleep with that guy? Who's your father?
And get pregnant, bitch.
Look, my dad isn't the Johnny you know. He grew up. I like to think you rubbed off on him. As a kid, I looked up to both of you.
My dad, your grandfather, was my hero. Called me Private Pumpkin.
Shut up, bitch.
We should get back to work.
Biometric verification required. ID verified. General Sonia Blade.
General Blade? Dad would be proud.
Corny. Fucking corny. You are so corny. That Daphne clip.
I'm a star. This is a military operation.
All right, you know what else is a military operation? Me going to the bathroom. Can we shut up? I'll be a second. 1 second, 1 second. Hello. I hit my microphone. I think you dropped something. Maybe. Just a little. Oops. My bad, y'all. My bad. My bad.
But your daughter,
guys, this story fucking sucks. Like, this sucks.
Our daughter is CEO. A little humility might earn her respect. Dad always said, hungry people eat lunch, humble people serve it. Dad was an asshole. Hollywood made us an even bigger one.
Well, that's the color purple, Maddie. We call that the color purple. P-U-P-R-L. That's not how you spell purple. When do we get to the good part of this story? How many chapters are in this bitch?
Not my contract.
Shut up. Well, Maddie, we are on chapter 7, so please pay attention in class or you're gonna get a detention. I'm literally getting gagged by this bot. Like, what? The difficulty spike all of a sudden? Like, what happened? No, but like how much in part 1? Mbuzz, thank you for not gifting a sub. Thank you for subscribing. He just countered me. Oh, eat a fucking fat bag of dicks.
I only need one
Oh, I'm okay. 12 base game. What are we on? I think we're on like 6 or 7. Thank God.
Gig should pay extra. An old man just kicked your ass.
Shut up!
Got lucky.
You left me behind?
Excuse me?
My final mission.
How did you... Shit. No, I'm not doing this. Not now. Not with you.
Damn it, Cassie. You abandoned me?
To save the company! That was my order!
Who the hell gave you that order?
You did.
Of course Rhonda's gonna be a hypocrite.
Full report, Lieutenant.
Leave it to Rhonda. Miss Rousey.
Go to condition red!
We're under attack! Repeat, we're under attack!
Yippee-ki-yay, right?
Shut the fuck up. Oh my God. I want this to turn into Mortal Kombat 9 and everybody gets fucking eradicated. I want someone to walk in, bot, 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 bot. Kill everybody. Oh, this one though. This one, he needs a Speedo. Can we Google that? Speedo skin. Don't try and clock me. I'm in my horny unhinged era, so I'm not gonna apologize for anything. This is me. I am bold, I am free. This is me.
Like Friday.
They shot our face, Johnny. They shot our face.
Shut up! Oh shit!
Ah, he's gonna get us killed.
Fuck!
Funny way of saying howdy, partner.
I was saying goodbye.
Now, why is a nice Texas boy like Aaron Black in bed with the Black Dragon? Older you works for Kotal Khan. He's one of the good guys, kinda.
Oh, glad I didn't miss anything important. My AC is leaking. We bought a cheap AC and obviously it has issues.
Fight.
But I wasn't gonna buy a full price AC for an apartment I'm gonna stay in for like 3 weeks and then move. because the place we're probably moving into probably has a built-in AC, so it would kind of be worthless for me. The AC is actually, what is this? Is this a cummy stain? What is that? It's the light. The light is coming. It's so hot here compared to Australia. Like, it's literally like, I mean, I know it's summer, but like, it's actually like insane, like how hot it is here. I think it's like close to 100 in Fahrenheit here. It's like really hot, which like I love, but like not when I put makeup on. If I didn't have to wear makeup and I could just sit in the hot weather all day, I would. I'm serious. I don't understand why people are like, oh my god, it's so hot, I'm miserable. Yeah, sometimes, but like the hot weather, like, would you rather be struggling in the winter? My god. I want to go to the beach, I want to have a margarita, I want to be out on vacation. Like, I can't.
You chose poorly. Cassie! Sonia!
Where is the thing? Okay.
Breathe, kiddo.
Have you, oh, you actually have experienced kind of a tough winter. Then I respect it more. There are some people that like live in like California and they're like, oh my god, I'd rather suffer in the winter, when they've literally never experienced like a New England winter. I'm like, girl, if you've been there, you know how terrible it is. Also, summer makes it so everybody's wearing like no clothes. I used to work on a beach, so all of the men would literally walk up in like shirtless, drenched in the, like, they just got out of the water. Like, ooh, it was lovely, gal. Still melting. I mean, same, but I'd rather it that way. I guess it's just preference. This is a perfect opportunity for me to make a top and bottom joke, but you know, that's like softball. But you get it. I would much rather, you know, be sweating than, I hate being like, I don't know, I hate being cold. It's just me. That's why I want to move to Vegas. I want to move to Vegas and be sweating my fucking girl cock off. Oh, it's true, it's true. Hey, Pump. This standing desk was the best amount of money I've ever spent in my life. I'm getting my energy back from just standing up. You guys like gay shit? Subscribe and give me money. I'm struggling, my house burned down. Help your girl out. I'll give you gay shit. Damn right. Duh.
Send another extraction vehicle.
I don't have the headphones in because I know this part doesn't even fucking matter. Like, this is stupid. This is stupid. What we're doing, what you're doing is stupid. Oh my god, I would love to get one of those Harleys so I could be like walking. Oh my god, that'd be fierce. I could be like serving, like, ooh. Could you imagine? Ah, it would look so fucking pussy! Someone buy me one right now.
Fight.
When someone gets me in and then I do like a you have to give 5 subs and I'll walk backwards on camera. I'll be like, ooh, you want to look back at it on the treadmill? 5 subs. Bitch, if I could, sex sells. And you know what? I'm gonna dip into that. Like, come on. Oh, good morning, Marshy. All the companies are dipping into sex sells, so why can't we? You want to be successful? Wear a cum suit. This is stupid. I hate this game. Marshy, please. I was watching that episode that I sent you the clip of Marsha getting eliminated, and the entire episode after they go, "Oh, I'm gonna miss you, Marshall." I'm like, that's me.
I'm next.
Oh, gonna miss you, Marshall. Bye, Marshall. Lux calls Marsha Marshall, which is really funny. Oh! Stretch kick, curtain up. Ooh. He's the bald one. I don't like the bald one. But I do want to see if it looks like a baby arm. I just want to see it. Thump. Just. The microphone almost fell again. The NPC streaming is so wild to me. Bitch! I'ma start doing that. Yes, 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 yes. Ice cream so good. Thank you, evacuation guy, for the being here in chat. Sona 888, ice cream so good. Thank you. I respect it. No boots. Like, get your fucking bag. Like, I'm into it. Literally do not care. As long as you're not hurting anybody, like, do what you fucking need to get your bag, bitch. One of my friends, she sells feet pics. I mean, like, get your fucking bag. Like, literally how? I wish. I mean, I have TikTok. I have TikTok live streaming unlocked. Like, I could simultaneously do it back, like, at the same time, but that's like a lot of work. I need to like slowly make my way back into like getting into the groove of streaming, and you know, this is like my first actual lengthy stream back, so God, I wish that was me. Sorry.
Got ourselves a full-on generation swap here.
I wish this would go away. Ugh.
Don't think so. Between Ninja Mime and Lady Liberty, we've got all the leverage.
There's no story happening here besides, oh, there's a bad guy. We need to get rid of the bad guys. I'm gonna take a break while, not like an actual break, like I'm gonna sit here on my phone and make a tweet. You guys can go to my Twitter and see what the tweet is, but it's not very appropriate to read out loud.
Cabal, go get my lesser half.
And the base?
Taken care of.
I am so sorry. Threads died for me so fast. I'm so sorry.
Let's go get them.
I don't know like what another outlet for like keeping updates with people would be besides Threads. Like I only use like Twitter. I use Twitter, Twitch. I barely use Instagram besides like pictures. Like I don't know what an alternative would be. There's like a big market I feel like there could be, but no place has gotten there yet. Like a mix between Facebook and Twitter that's not Threads. You know what I mean? Yeah, they need updates, Boots. Well, I'm fine. I moved into an apartment with my friends Onyx and Max, and we're gonna be here for like 2 to 3 weeks while we decide and like get a contract. Well, I'm gonna move out again, which is exhausting, but
Thanks.
probably a month here and then long-term place with my sister while insurance fixes up the house that got burnt down. But I am good. Got back from Australia, immediately did that, probably got sick again, that's why I have a cough. Was moving while I was sick. Did all of that. This is like my first stream back, so
Welcome to the Fire Garden.
yeah. I'm fine, but it's just been a lot.
Elder gods are gone. Shinnok is
I just want to sit here and play video games for you guys, but I have to like, you know,
We both kicked his ass.
it's been a lot.
It's not vengeance that drives Kronika. She restarts history.
I don't
to
either.
balance
Everyone's
life
going to
and
Blue
dark
Sky, and
among
I'm
the
like, first of all, the at names on Blue Sky are fucking ugly. Like, I hate it. Like, it's so ugly. It's like, at NemesisLacroix Blue Sky app. I'm like, that is the ugliest fucking at name I've seen in my life. I'm not even installing it. That's so ugly. Like, get away from me. Like, that is so hideous.
We will rendezvous with Princess Kitana.
And the app looks like it's like built on an Android from the bottom of the trash barrel. Like it literally looks like a Gaia Online in-game browser on like a BlackBerry phone. It looks so outdated in booger boots. Are you guys enjoying the story of this game? Clap if you like the story of this game.
Guess which Khan will prevail in this struggle. We gain no advantage choosing sides now.
Princess!
Liu Kang, why are you here?
Kotal Khan has been captured by the Tarkatans. We must act quickly before he is executed.
My people will not.
Shiva eats though. Was she the first DLC? They have our full ass model in this.
Support, Your Highness. With yours, we can guarantee victory.
There is no path to victory without the Tarkatans. If they can be swayed to Kotal Khan, it would be to our advantage to join him.
I will return, Queen Shiva, with the Tarkatans at my side. Together, we will march on Shao Kahn.
Oh, that made it worse. I have a window right next to my... Also, guys, it's been so great to not worry about my head hitting the ceiling in my new... Because I've been locked in a tiny Who's in the Speedo? Not Donnie getting banned for 2 weeks because something they said in my chat. What? That's wild.
Jade's blood that intrigues you, Scarlet.
Indian blood is most sweet, Your Excellency.
Hello!
It is also a rare commodity.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm live, but what's tea?
Oh, I just wanted to be a bother.
Oh, you can.
Can I be a bother?
Yeah, we're playing Mortal Kombat.
Feature.
You have to come in closer.
Oh,
baby.
sorry. Featured.
Roomies.
I'm a little drunk.
Oh, work.
Then we
Where did you go? Why are you
I went to a bar to try to sell beer, and then I drank beer. And then I drank tequila.
Okay. This is Onyx's partner, everybody. Am I allowed to say that?
You sure can.
Okay.
Doxed at the gig.
Okay, work.
Doxed.
And they were roommates.
Yeah, Onyx and I are just roommates and nothing
Nothing more.
No, we are partners of 4 years and we own a cat.
Yeah, put in.
Birthed from us.
Yeah, it came right out of your.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. How are we
okay.
doing at the gig? Are we having fun?
No, this is miserable. I've been here for how many hours? 3 hours and 30 minutes, and like this game is just not gaming. Like it's like, oh, there's a bad guy, but everybody's like talking and talking, and there's too many men, and it's like, where are the girls?
Is she gonna crush her skull?
I hope not.
I kind of hope she does. I don't know who either of them are. No skin in the game. Crush her.
Oh my god, she's really
Do
good.
it. Game of Thrones tease.
Oh
Pedro
my
Pascal.
god. She's fucking her up. Boobs.
Do it.
I'm gonna play my bitch Katana. There she is.
Yes. Wait, did she stop? Where did
she did stop?
Where did the
There's no, this is Mortal Kombat and nobody's dying.
There's no
nobody's died. I want to see some bitch get fucked up.
High and mighty daughter.
I agree with the comment that says too many men.
Yeah, the new game they're releasing, there's 29 confirmed men and only 5 girls.
She is for Shao.
Yeah, look into the camera, sweet.
Excuse me, mortal? Mr. Combat?
Government name, Mr. Mortal.
Mr. Mortal. Mr. Combat. We've got a lot to talk about. That's sick. You're sick for that.
Also, look at their cute... Where did you get these? These are Bunty.
Oh, thank you. I got them from Precious Horrors. She is a Providence girly. We stan Precious Little Horrors.
They're Jennifer's Body's cup holders.
Oh, hold on. Let me.
Cup holders. It's a fucking coaster.
You betrayed your father, Kitana.
Also for the Britney fans at the gig.
Oh!
The Britney fans at the gig, she also did this. It's a frosted dump him glass.
Wait, they made all of
Precious
this by
Little
themselves?
Horrors. She sure did. She's got a cricket and she's got a dream.
That's everything.
It's literally just... It's Alex Stitchins. She's incredible. I'm obsessed with her.
Stan.
Yeah, anyway, thank you.
Where's on there?
Mr. Cornbar, Mr. Mortal.
Mr. Cummy.
Mr. Oh. Not of the
Sorry, I've been
day.
horny on the TL because there's like a lot of hot men.
Yeah, too many hot men and not enough hot women.
Speak on it.
Thank you. Onyx is cleaning up our cleaning.
Work.
They're cleaning. They're doing some chores. Which is what I was about to do until I got distracted hearing there was a stream.
Hey.
All right, I'm gonna go now.
Work. Drink water, baby. Oh. It's still hot. I'm gonna turn on my fan, not my AC, because she's leaking. Can you guys hear my fan? Is it obnoxious? Like while I'm talking, testes. I don't hear it. Okay, perf. I wish there was some way to, like, where is that coming from? Your fans are so no, the fan, not the fan. Yeah, you're obnoxious in the chat. Get out of here. Yeah, I don't see a sub badge by your name, you flop. Sorry, that was a joke. I really don't care if you subscribe to me or not. Actually, do I like Bunny? I need something to block this. Blocked. Did that block it? Nope, it didn't. Why is it not blocking it? Oh, go right there. Oh, that's gonna fall. Oh, maybe not. What is that? Where is it coming from? Oh, it's like over there? Boots? What the fuck? Girl. Is it distracting? Is it too much? Is it too much? Is it too much? Well, I can't fix it, so. This is what I get for streaming in the middle of the day.
Don't bleed out yet.
So wait, what was Scarlet doing to Jade? Because that was the most interesting thing, this entire thing. Was she gonna kill her? Why is the computer so hard all of a sudden? The computer's hard. Oh.
I will execute.
Icon. Those are my mothers. I know, Kelly is pregnant. Well, she's having twins. Did you know Christy Hemme had 4 kids at once? She's pregnant with quadruplets. I could not even imagine having 4 kids at once.
There is more to power than
The achievement? Alright. She better. Kelly's like a gender, like, fluid kind of name.
Jade, are you all right? We must find Baraka quickly to save Kotal.
Baraka won't join us. Kotal's hate for the Tarkatans runs too deep. If I hadn't stopped him, Kotal would have executed them all.
Yes! Kotal has made his intentions plain.
Baraka, please listen. No more Tarkatans need to die.
Kotal Khan threatens all Tarkatans. In the new era, Shao Kahn will rule. Fight. I will flame.
Like, what am I supposed to do? This is just not. Oh, that's not.
This bores me.
Taste my blades.
Oh, me next.
I will execute you.
I'm gonna play my bitch Katana. Yak! Fuck. Girl, please. Just throw your hand at him. Like, watch this. Okay. Stop. If I lose. Oh my god. I would have been so tilted. I would have been like, alright, we're playing something else, chat.
Jade, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, stand down.
Gut, nar Kombat Tracker. Speak. You've earned the chance.
Shao Kahn has pitted Outworld's peoples against one another for millennia. And for what? The honor of dying in his wars? We must fight for each other, Baraka, not with each other.
Kotal wants us dead. He said as much to my face.
Aid us, and I'll make sure you sit at Kotal's table. Which do you prefer, Baraka? To be Shao Kahn's slave, or Kotal Khan's trusted ally?
Shit,
No one has ever made Tarkatan such an offer. But these are your words, not his.
Help me save Kotal Khan. We'll ask him together.
He offers less. I'll slit his throat.
If he offers less, Baraka, I'll help you.
That's me flirting with Baraka, because I would. Not Barack Obama, Baraka. Don't get it twisted.
Too long at this pretender's hands, but I've returned, and I will save you from his madness. Only I can rebuild the Empire. All realms will tremble.
Did they make it like in this game so you can see his like ferals? Like, because I don't remember in other games that he had like those scales and stuff. Did they make that more prominent in this one? Hey everyone! Katana walking in first, like, okay, queen. Shiva! Okay, Shiva! I didn't know she walked in with them. Okay, pussy. Love her.
Boldness been hiding, Katana. Had you shown it before, I'd have had no need for Melina.
Why is everybody talking about Melina, but she's not here?
Monster. Exactly like you, father.
Probably.
Ungrateful shrew, born to privilege which you throw away.
Who are you to judge me?
You have not known cold or hunger. If you had, you would value the gifts Shao Kahn gave you.
Fight!
I miss playing Sindel. That's my girl.
It is not your day. You lack elegance and grace. Be grateful you still breathe.
Girl, kill him. Oh, pocket sand. Oh, hey guys. The random people in the crowd being out here. Oh, WWE. Thank you so much. Oh, okay, wait, this WWE. Oh, the Rock Attack? Oh, Nikki Bella Tease? He just did the Rock Attack. Oh, gags.
Surrender or face the consequences.
Surrender on the brink of victory. You're as feeble-minded as Jared.
King Jared, the father you murdered and stole me from.
I wanted Jared's wife, not his heir. I kept you only to appease your mother.
Oh,
Do not expect mercy this time. Fight.
That was such a delayed start. Bitch. No one's shocked. Don't act shocked.
I will execute you.
The doink noises when you get slapped by the hammer. And gagged.
I'll not inherit your cruelty.
Ooh. Super kick queen. So we got a rack attack and then we got a Carmella super kick. Ooh.
She did it.
Oh, she ate that! Not me not knowing that Katana was the one to fucking kill Shao Kahn. Okay.
Do you feel anything?
Shao Kahn has crippled me, left me defenseless.
Not while I am by your side.
You would have me, even with my hardened heart.
I know your heart. It can change.
Okay, Nails. Are they fucking?
It is over, Kotal Khan. The throne is secure.
Thank you. Baraka, Shiva, I have not served your peoples well, yet still you aided.
You literally called him a dirty whatever earlier. Like, that was so nasty.
We don't need charity. We will share in Outworld's rule. That is up to her now.
What?
The throne is yours. You have united Outworld, Kitana Khan.
Woohoo, yeah!
She's now officially out of your league.
I am humbled, Kotal. From this day on, may all our peoples fight together as one.
You wanna be the queen card?
The news from Outworld.
Queen card accepted.
But the location of Kronika's keep remains a mystery.
Look, there's only two girlies here. Oh, three, my bad.
My sight.
Do you know of Charon, Raiden?
Charon, of course. Who is Charon?
Master of the ancient ship of the dead. Sub-Zero and I met him during our time as revenants.
He travels in the space beyond realms, transporting damned souls to the nether realm.
I know, we could have wrapped it up.
Lies there. Charon may know its location.
Would he help us?
It is possible, but I cannot be sure.
I urge you both to investigate.
We will leave immediately.
Locking down Outworld's army.
Oh, there is only two girls. It's Cassie and Jackie.
Feel better if we had more manpower.
Where the fuck is Sonya?
Shaolin will join us. Liu Kang and Kung Lao travel now to aid the monks' preparations.
Good. I'll be leaving soon to go after Johnny and Sonya.
I'll go too.
We're both going.
No.
What?
Raiden needs you for an intel op.
We need to get Sonya back.
Undoubtedly.
Oh, that's right. They got captured or whatever. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
All powerful. Otherwise, why would she attempt to steal Jinsei?
Think maybe she's still building strength?
A distinct probability.
Then what's the next move?
With the Dragon Grotto's Jinsei fountain sealed, there is no greater energy source in Earthrealm than the Well of Souls beneath Shang Tsung's island.
Then we better go check it out.
I regret that I cannot join you. I must keep vigil for signs of Kronika's further tampering with time.
We all have our duty.
You're a liar.
I'm told you defeated Shinnok, Cassandra Cage. You will defeat the likes of Kano, but proceed with caution. If either Johnny or Sonya die, you will cease to exist. It will be beyond my power to save you.
I know. Okay, club, it's bumping.
Rise and shine, Sonya. Yeah, you won't be leaving that stuff, love. One thing we Black Dragon know. There's no fun in a fair fight.
Who is that?
So Sonya's the skank who burns me?
What?
She goes black ops on your ass. Shocks, knives, the bloody works. Patched you back together myself. Well, most of you.
She's dead.
Miss Law and Order really does that to him? Nah. But now he's motivated.
Hope you're ready for some preemptive vengeance.
He's so ugly.
Talking about, Cabal.
You, torturing me to get dirt on the Black Dragon.
Fight.
I'm a one-woman army.
Ugh, the way I can hear Rhonda makes me sick. She's actually really good to play in this game. I actually really like her fight style.
Don't believe every rumor you hear. I'm
Just
done
no-
entertaining you clowns.
Like, I actually
Damn you,
can't. Like,
cowards.
Rhonda can literally do nothing right. It's so obnoxious.
But we think our next contender is a beaut.
So dry.
Shit. I won't fight him. Cut this shit. You'll kill us whether we fight or not.
Nah, you caught me, love. But put on a good show, eh? It'll be less painful.
Come on. You've been dying to hit me all day. Here's your chance.
And give them the satisfaction of watching us fight? Like hell.
You said it. They'll kill us whether we fight or not. Fighting buys us time to find a way out. So, quit being a diva. Hit me.
Take a dive.
Are we done?
These people know dive when they see one.
So, are we done? Are we done? Are we done? Are we done? I'm actually so uninterested in the story. Like, it's actually unreal.
Now, ain't this a thrill? Bagging the legendary Sonya Blade.
Fight.
Story.
Thank you so much.
Clap, conquer, fight, cut characters.
Like, wow. I really didn't expect this story to be worse than 10. Why did everybody shit on her, like, face in this game? Like, I didn't think it was that bad. It's actually kind of cool. Excuse me. I know if they didn't like restart the series, like I'd probably go wild. It's like, what else can they do? Like, it's just really tired. Yeah, I've heard. I'm trying to get there, but like I literally am bored out of my fucking mind trying to play this shit. It's like there's nowhere to go. It's like, it's really boring, like seriously. Like I don't even know what to say. See, he's a good pick for a combat pack. I just don't understand, like, so what was this game's combat pack? It was
Customized.
You can look in the store. It was Sindel, Joker, Nightwolf, Terminator, Spawn, and Shang Tsung. I think that's a pretty okay combat pack. It's pretty mid, but definitely the one we just got for the new game is terrible. Wait, so... Wait, hold on. So... So Melina isn't even in the combat, but like the aftermath? Ew, what is that skin?
Conquer characters.
I hope they get rid of this customized shit. I honestly hate it. Like, just make alternate outfits. And let us change the colors if we want. Like, it's so tired. Like, look how much that changed on Scarlet. I changed her mask. Like, get real. Be so for real. Bitch, shut up. Ooh, that's kind of cunty. They better add the fucking bodysuit outfits in Mortal Kombat. I swear. I'm having a moment. I'm having a breakdown, honestly. What is new here? Oh, so glad I got a new weapon that I really don't even give a shit about. Like, this game is so... Oh, I don't even have Rain. That's so sad because he's like the hottest ever. Damn. Ew. Ew. I thought he was hot. What happened? Ah! What happened? I'm lost. Why is he not hot anymore? Why does he look like that? Why does his entire face change? I can't do this. Can we take off his mask? What's underneath? Hey. Human. That is not human. Me when I lie? Oh wait, that's so fun. It's like Jason Voorhees. Ew. Ew. Where's my girl Sindel? Can I just see some cunt for a second? Like, I just want to see mother serve cunt. I mean, like, look at the material. She's everything. How could you not say cunt? I'm gonna be so upset if she looks ugly in the new game. Like, more upset than anything. I mean, I guess people can mod, but like, if she looks booger, I'm gonna be so upset. Because she's my favorite. Like, honestly, I'm looking back and I'm like, I love Melina, but I think if I had to play one more, it's probably Sindel. But I do love Melina. If they give Sindel a bob, oh, war is coming. I will fight in like an actual world war. I'll make a bomb like Oppenheimer. They extend said bob.